My boss fired me for being too expensive after 18 years leading the engineering team. We can get 3 junior engineers for your salary, he smirked during my termination meeting. I nodded politely and wished him well. Nothing personal, just cost cutting, he added. I left without complaint, cleared out my desk, and said goodbye. His panic calls began when. We can get 3 junior engineers for your salary, he smirked during my termination meeting. Nothing personal, just cost cutting. My name is Victor Hale, 55 years old, lead systems engineer at Veltria Housing for 18 years. I built their entire infrastructure from scratch, architected every expansion, kept everything running so smoothly that the executives forgot how much the company depended on me, until they decided they couldn't afford me anymore. I sat across from Graham Vickers, the new chief technology officer who'd been with the company for all of 6 months. He was 42, wore designer glasses, and had an MBA from Cornell. He'd been brought in to modernize operations, which apparently meant cutting the most experienced staff first. The severance package is generous, said Diane from Human Resources, sliding a folder across the table. 2 months' salary plus your accrued vacation time. I nodded, took the folder, and said, thank you. Is that all you have to say? Graham looked almost disappointed. Maybe he'd expected me to argue or threaten legal action. Give him something to tell the board about how difficult I was being. What would you like me to say? Most people in your position have questions, concerns, he said. I shrugged. Seems pretty straightforward to me. Graham exchanged glances with Diane, who looked equally perplexed by my calm. What they didn't understand was that I wasn't calm. I was just done. There's a difference. Well, we'd appreciate your help with the transition, Graham continued. The new engineering team will need some guidance on the system architecture. Perhaps a consulting arrangement for a few weeks. I'll think about it, I said, knowing I wouldn't. We shook hands. I cleared out my desk without complaint. 18 years of work fit into a single cardboard box. I nodded goodbye to a few colleagues who looked away awkwardly, afraid the same fate awaited them. As I walked to my truck in the parking garage, my phone buzzed. A text from Alan, the database administrator I'd hired 12 years ago. This is Vic. The whole team's freaking out. I didn't respond. At home, I sat on my deck overlooking Lake Ontario, nursing a glass of bourbon, watching the sunset paint the water copper. My wife Elaine placed a hand on my shoulder. What will you do now? I shrugged. Something will turn up. What Graham didn't know, what he hadn't bothered to learn, was that I hadn't just built their systems. I had custom-coded large sections myself with minimal documentation because the company had always refused to fund a proper documentation team. Only I understood the deep redundancies, the hidden security layers, the intricate network architecture, and I wasn't planning to explain it to anyone. I started at Veltria Housing back when it was called Bayview Properties, a small real estate management firm with 4 apartment complexes and a dozen employees. Their entire IT infrastructure consisted of 2 desktop computers, a fax machine, and a dial-up internet connection. The owner, Harold Bay, hired me away from a consulting gig in Syracuse. We are expanding, he told me. Need someone who can build us something solid. Over 18 years, I'd turned that rudimentary setup into an integrated property management system that handled everything from tenant applications and background checks to automated maintenance requests and rent collection across 63 properties in 4 states. I built it piece by piece, adapting, upgrading, refining as the company grew.